I think importantly for me, often what we can do, whether we're in a corporate space or whether we're with a sports team, is we'll have a day where we'll sit down and we'll put out on a flip chart what our values are, what our vision is, and where we want to take the team. And I've always felt that sometimes that's quite a dangerous thing if it's not monitored on a regular basis. So we did the same as the teams that I've worked with. We'll sit down on a day and we'll work out what are the things that are important to us, and that will allow us to behave a certain way all the time. But for me as the leader, I then needed to take that language and then to repeat that language literally every day. And I think that's where your value sits as a leader, that you take those very important values that you've decided as a group of people, and that you make sure that that is lived out every single day. So I enjoyed that process actually. I found that by doing that, it allows for the space to be consistent, or the environment to be consistent. There's no gray area. That's how we do things, and we've decided on it as a group of people, not just me as a leader imparting that on the team, but as a group of people we've decided that's what we want to do and how we want to operate. And it brings in a safe space for individuals to operate in. And I think importantly for us as leaders as well, is that whether you're in the corporate space or you're in a sport environment, that those values come to life, and that you create a very safe environment for people, that if they're operating within that value system, then we're moving in the right direction as a group of people. When I started with the Indian team and trying to bring my own kind of value system into that team, I remember the first thing I said to myself, well, if I can make sure that I've got a good work ethic and I arrive here and put in all the effort that I need to without shirking my duties, that would be a great thing to share with the team. I remember arriving with a team and working with a lot of high-profile individuals with big brands, and knowing that, you know, to be able to influence them by standing up and talking to them and telling them how to do things might not necessarily be the right approach, but rather to behave in a way where you become an example to them and an inspiration to them in many ways, to say, oh, I'd like to be like him. And I certainly remember working with that team, and the one thing I always said to myself is make sure that you have a good amount of time at a one-on-one level with each one of those players, which meant me spending sometimes up to 3-4 hours in a net, and just throwing to all the batsmen and making sure they got the best of me in that space. Sometimes physically it was very demanding on me. I do remember times where I even struggled to get out of bed because of those demands. But I knew that from a value perspective, it was very important to show them that I was committed to the cause as much as I wanted them to be, especially in terms of what we wanted to achieve. And that was to be the best cricket team in the world.